And welcome to How to Be Friends with Dave and Shawn. Hi, Shawn.
Hi, Dave.
How are you doing over there, big guy?
Just wondering why everything's always got to be so hard.
we we have an interesting pre-production process at this show, which includes sharing notes with each other throughout the week, talking about topics, struggling sometimes to find a good time to record, and on occasion, our good friend here, Shawn, just gets people being like, "I know that you're doing something, but I need to interrupt whatever you're doing."
Yeah, in fairness, it's not like I put a sign on the door or anything, and I don't tell everybody in the house. So I tell my wife and my two youngest ones what I'm doing, and like they'll occasionally pop in while I'm talking with you, and they're just like, I'm like, okay, but Gabe had absolutely no clue what I was doing. In defense of Gabe, he just watched, and at no point at any given time have I ever been like, "Don't come in the garage." Like besides when you're wrapping gifts, so I
Right?
just rolled in and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And at that point, he was like, "Well, I can try it again later." Like it's already too late, bud. We're gonna have to restart this. It's not. So I don't have like an on-air recording sign. Also, my family comes first. Like, and he had what appeared to be an urgent look on his face. I wasn't about to like give him the hey buddy, give me 50 minutes to bullshit, and then I'll tackle your problem. So
That's the wrong finger that you're using there.
that's
Also incorrect.
that's
Sorry.
that finger.
Keep trying. No, I'm just, and that's true. In the vein of how to be friends with Dave and Shawn, it helps to have some shared values. We obviously value family a great deal here. But this, oh, okay, that's staying in
I figured it
the
would. Sorry.
and yes, Shawn has started in on his hard seltzer because, of course, he too is an Uggs wearing Becky going to flippin'
It's the only thing
start.
I could drink anymore. If I drink more than one of these, I get a hangover. I'm a big wuss. Jiminy
Stay
Christmas.
hydrated. Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. That being said, last week's episode was a barn burner for this channel, getting almost 140 views, a couple
Woot.
of subscribers,
Wow.
uh, and some of you watched more than 4 minutes of us.
Which is astounding.
That's coming up here in about 1 minute.
My
So
wife still hasn't watched or listened to any of these. She could give two craps about this entire thing.
she hears you every day. So
And in fairness, yeah, I don't blame her. If she was like, "Hey, I did a thing where I recorded me talking for an hour. Do you want to listen to it?" No.
I actually, okay, so I want to do a special thank you to a few people. There are people that I know watch all the time. People, mostly friends that I'm close to. There have been a couple of people on my social media come out and be like, "I'm your biggest fan," and I'm like, I am incredibly grateful for this. Like, there are some people out watching it, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all. If you are sticking through this, like, just hangout section every week, we appreciate you and enjoy, participate, because this might actually go somewhere.
Which would be awesome. That'd be wonderful if it went somewhere.
It might be a decade from now,
Yeah,
but
yeah, and that's fine. I'm
you know,
cool with
you,
that.
you might because we've been friends for more than a decade now. So what's adding another one to that?
What's adding a second decade or a
Absolutely.
decantade, as we say?
Now, for a quick transition, then we have several fan questions to get to, but first, our sponsor, the Ancient Secret Society for the Memoriam of 80s and 90s Nickelodeon, or Ass Men.
I gotta
That's right.
tell you, you stretched it.
I stretched it.
You stretched the ass to make that work.
Yeah,
You are 2.5 raccoons deep.
I want to be clear that I did not choose this name, that this is from our sponsor, who'd like us to remember such wonderful shows as Out of Control, featuring the start of the famous Dave Coulier's career. Mark Summers on Double Dare.
Yeah.
How many of us remember wonderfully people getting slimed left and right?
Who was the Olympian? What show did she host? She was cute.
Olympian females often are. They're
I think
quite
she was a
fit.
swimmer or a skier or something.
I don't even think you have to be an Olympian. If you have achieved swimmer status, you're usually fairly attractive. What is going on? You know what? You look that up while I give another call out to Hey Dude, Salute Your Shorts, Finders Keepers, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Legends of the Hidden Temple. Okay, Ass Men would like to actually make a warning to go ahead and leave these things in the 80s and the 90s. Objectively, they were not good. They were wonderful in their time. We enjoyed them a great deal. Uh, Memories have a way of polishing over the lousiness and leaving only the good things. Let's remember the good things. When you're done listening to this podcast, don't flip right over and search for Out of Control featuring Dave Coulier.
You can
You'll regret it.
rewatch Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because in fairness,
Some of those are pretty damn good.
yeah. Summer Sanders, who hosted Figure It Out.
Figure
Summer
it
Sanders.
out. I might
Yes.
actually. I gotta write that one down because I might actually have to go look that up.
Yes. She won 4 Olympic medals for swimming. Yes.
And then she went and hosted a show on Nickelodeon that was probably on for ass season.
She also hosted a show on MTV back when MTV actually had integrity.
Yeah.
And it wasn't 23 hours of
Ridiculousness.
yeah, see, that's and it's not even a show I watch, but I know it because of that girl who sounds like a dolphin.
She's the worst. I actually could enjoy that show if not for her. She's plugged in specifically to drive people off.
Say something funny.
I'm on the spot. Why'd you just do that to me? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the entire show, yeah.
Which brings us to the good point. It does not matter how attractive you are. You can drive people off real easy with the smallest thing.
No, I'm not ripping on her. Hey, you know what? She's actually very good in that environment of like hosting a show, but the show itself is just too much, man. MTV, what the hell? Anyways, I want to. What I don't like talking about random crap necessarily unless it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like the time I almost died last week trying to get on the freeway because some Mitsubishi crap back vomit gold car nearly murdered me. What I want to focus on is our viewer questions because questions get me to think. And I like that
okay.
kind of thing.
And we do have several. I want to start with actually one that wasn't in the notes unless you just pulled them up because this really recently came from a fan.
Okay.
Quote, is it true the U.S. Army is older than the United States?
Are we talking about the Continental Army?
See, and this is what we got to do with the actual fan questions. As it stands, that question itself, break it down. Is it true that the U.S. Army is older than the United States? I believe the answer is up to interpretation. If we're going to make the argument that the United States started with the Declaration of Independence in 1776, then yes, the U.S. Army is older than the United States because it had to exist before we were going to give England the big middle finger. But if we're saying that the United States was a matter of sovereignty when we officially kicked the hell out of England and poof, we exist, well, it's all simultaneous.
Right, but yeah, it was the Continental Army, which was prior to... Yeah, so the Army is, if we go off the Continental Army, then it is older than the United States is as an established sovereignty.
Right. Same with, like, the National Guard is super old. I think that's older than the Continental Army. The Marine Corps, of course, likes to hail way back because, of course, the idea of the people on the Mayflower having Marines or something ties in. Any devil dog out there listening to this, just getting steamed up by the fact that I don't know my facts on that, yeah, go ahead and just send me a scathing email.
The only one I could think of would be my father, and he has tried to watch approximately 3.5 minutes of this podcast, and he gave up. So
Couldn't quite get to the average. That's sad. But then again, he
Yeah.
works with you all the time too.
Once again, that's the thing, right? Like he hears me ramble on all the time. So why would
Hmm.
you want to listen to me talk to you?
Now, this one is actually kind of a combination of from me and from some children. Okay, so there's this big debate online about which way the toilet paper goes, right? Does it go over the top or does it go under the bottom?
It
Okay?
goes, it goes, it goes in the bowl.
It go
Doesn't
it
matter how
does.
it comes off the roll as long as it ends up in the bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
If
gosh.
you don't have small kids, you don't know what I'm saying. If you do have small kids, you know exactly what I'm saying.
As you clean someone else's chocolate starfish over and over and over again. It's wonderful.
The toilet paper rolls over the front. That's just the way it goes.
Right,
It goes
but
over the
why?
front.
Why does that matter? Why does that's the 2 points of the question. First off, why does it need to go that way? Because that's correct. But the second question is, why do people get so damn wound up about that?
Why do people get so? I don't know. I don't understand why.
Is it an OCD thing? Is it just what we've chosen to get upset about?
No, I think it's because we're used to things feeding like that. If I don't know, honestly. Personally, for me, I like it to come over the front because I find it easier to find the end if I need to. But I don't know.
Okay, next question.
Yes.
This one blew my mind.
Yeah.
This came from a patient. Okay.
Okay.
Are we using walkers backwards?
Now you're gonna have to expound on this.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, uh, I'm referring to the push walkers that people who are unstable will walk with. I'm not even going to say old people because you can be recovering from surgery and use
Not
one of those
Walker
damn things.
Texas Rangers.
Not Walker Texas Ranger. He's
Or
still
the
alive
or the Walker reboot that apparently exists on CW.
because all of the things which shouldn't be seen exist on the CW. No, one of my patients really wondered what the heck we're doing with walkers because so it sits in front of you. You got a couple of handles with brakes, and you walk along. And the whole point is that A, you're stable with damn 6 points of contact, basically. And B, if you become so unstable that you can no longer stay upright, you have a seat.
Yeah.
Are you seeing the problem with this?
Yeah, I don't understand how you would use a walker with it behind you though.
Okay, simple. Pull it behind you. Okay, you still have your 6 points of contact, right? But should you become unstable, you just sit down. The seat's
Right.
behind you where it belongs.
Okay.
If you become unstable and the seat is front of you, you're going to have to pirouette into that son of a bee in order to make it in time, which anyone using a walker is probably not the best at. Okay? Whereas if it's behind you, you fall into it in the safest, most logical way possible.
So you want to put it behind you, but maintain center line stability, but at the same time have the ability to grasp onto the handles, which means you'd have to make the thing twice as long in order to utilize it properly.
I'm not even saying that you have to make any changes. I have patients who do this, and it kind of blew my damn mind.
Okay.
But you're saying mechanically there needs to be adjustments made.
If you want to keep your center of balance inside the walker, then yes.
So what that means is if we're going to do this right, we need adult versions of those jumpers that we put babies and toddlers in to kind of walk around in. You know, that has the like underwear net you sit in. It's got your toys in a circle around you. It's got the wheels. We need an adult version of that. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is if you were to the point where you don't have the energy or the power to turn around when you feel like you need to sit down, you should probably be in a wheelchair.
Okay, that's fair. I still think it's...
not to overcomplicate the process, but if you're at that point, you should probably be in a wheelchair.
And for those of you who are ASMR sensitive, I'm here to give you a trigger warning that I am presently pouring myself some delicious, refreshing water in order to maintain my silky smooth voice.
Yeah.
I think we're going to make fun of ASMR a lot going forward.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have one more question actually to transition into something wonderful. Shawn, have you seen the Godzilla versus King Kong trailer?
No,
And why not?
because I don't care.
That's an ugly thing to say.
I'm just saying, you want me to be straightforward. That interests me absolutely zero. Because one, it's been done to death and they keep screwing it up. And two, it is a giant fire-breathing lizard versus an ape. And you're telling me that there is somehow going to be conflict there?
Okay, so on the one hand,
It breathes radioactive fire. The other one throws its crap. And you're trying to make a movie based on this conflict.
okay. Shawn, spoiler alert, and for anyone listening, spoiler alert.
It's not a spoiler alert. Do you have any idea how old these two characters are?
Okay, so first off, you saying that they keep doing it and keep getting it wrong is incorrect. There's only been one previous Godzilla vs. King Kong movie. So I want to hear that.
No, I'm talking about both characters. They keep getting it wrong. Now they're going to get it wrong with both of them in the same movie. So I don't understand why this is exciting people so much.
You are a sad, joyless individual, and I'm here to bring you joy.
You know what? While I'm on it, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired of bullshit space magic. I'm tired of space magic BS being vomited out by Marvel and Disney. I'm exhausted of it. Knock it off. Make a movie with some original thought in it.
Oh, like all of the Jason Bourne movies? Oh, look, a magical secret agent.
I am also tired of everybody getting up in arms and keep trying to cancel actors. Like now apparently we're trying to kill off Jeremy Renner. Like,
why are we going after Jeremy Renner?
Apparently, I don't know, some crap between
He's a gift.
Wife. So the whole Marvel vomit crap, and here's what I'm sick of on this, and most likely what I will be sick of with the King Kong versus
I'm not done with
giant lizard thing is that the following for all this crap has gotten absurd. Kind of like, remember when everybody was pissed off that all the Rick and Morty followers were losing their minds?
Uh-huh.
You realize you don't hate the show, you hate the fans.
It's a good show. It is objectively a good show.
It's how I've started to feel about Marvel stuff. I don't hate the show. I'm starting to hate the fans.
So just like Christianity. Yeah. You don't have a problem with God. It's his fan club.
Yeah, really. Yeah, in general, it's I never have a problem with the idea. It's usually the people behind it. So, yeah, if you want to go into why Lizard Monkey Combat 2.0 is going to be the greatest film ever created, I'm happy to indulge you, but it's been done and they keep screwing it up.
Shawn. Okay. For those of you who, again, spoiler alert's coming because we still live in a world where the toys come out before the movies, and sometimes the toys blow the lid on some plot points, and that's okay. And I think it might have been NECA or another toy maker released some of the toys that in the trailer. Okay, stick with me, Shawn. As a man who uses tools, you'll appreciate this. All right, in the trailer, there's this moment where like King Kong has a damn axe and he's coming at Godzilla, and Godzilla uses his atomic beam, and somehow Kong is able to reflect it with that axe. And I see this, and I do a little Shawn when I go, bull crap.
Yes, space magic bulls.
But we're not done. Okay, the toys that have come out, and again, spoiler alerts show King Kong's axe. Lord knows where he got it, but is made of one of Godzilla's scales, his spinal scales. I don't know where he got it, but what glows right before that atomic beam happens? Yes! Oh, the reaction is beautiful. So the Kong somehow uses that scale as a capacitor to fire the atomic beam back. Yes. Yes, Shawn.
No,
Embrace it.
none of this interests me. No, this sounds
Yes.
completely stupid.
But it might.
No,
No. No.
no, no. Is there anything else coming out that's actually interesting anytime soon besides?
Probably, but we want our bubble gum.
Can
Shawn.
I will tell you this.
Yes.
This entire pandemic has been a boon for the online show series because the fact that people can't get out and watch these movies
Mm-hmm.
has really benefited this. And I now have a subscription to CBS All Access.
How dare you?
Do you know why I have a subscription to CBS All Access?
Hit me. I never would have thought of doing that.
What thing do you think could be on CBS All Access that I would be interested in?
Not. Okay.
Apparently,
hold on. Female Olympians.
Apparently, they own the Star Trek franchise from Alpha to Zulu.
Which is the thing.
So,
you're right.
I wanted to see Picard and I wanted to see Discovery, but the best thing that I have found is Star Trek Lower Decks.
But that's what you have to do. I'm seeing everyone with. Yeah, I just saw an advertisement for Paramount's streaming service advertising their Star Trek stuff, and that's exactly how people are drawing people. And I actually support this because if you get all of your streaming shows a la carte, you're still not paying as much as a damn cable subscription.
But I don't think it would have gripped as hard had the pandemic not hit, and
Correct.
Disney and Marvel would have kept vomiting out the same money-earning garbage over and over and over again. And I really think it's been a boon for online programming like this.
Because y'all people canceled my Daredevil. I don't care how you feel about Marvel as a whole, Shawn. Daredevil was wonderful. Stop looking at the Eye of Sauron.
I watched like the first 4 episodes of it,
and that's great.
I have no feelings either way about it.
I know you are a cold and heartless human being, and that's
I really am. Yes.
I pour my warm energy into you and fill you up at least on a weekly basis.
All I am saying is Star Trek The Next Generation combined with Rick and Morty, Star Trek Lower Decks. If you have not seen it, go watch it. It is absolutely hilarious.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, you don't have to, but
I take that back. If you go and see King Kong versus Godzilla, I will watch at least. What is this show called? Star Trek. I have to write this down. Star Trek Lower Deck.
Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
And that is not a deal. I have no interest in the monkey versus dragon thing.
How dare you?
I don't.
He's not a dragon. Dragons have wings.
The last time I tried to interact with this was when Matthew Broderick was involved in one.
Who they canonized, by the way. If you
didn't know what?
You
ever talk to somebody who drank a lot in the past and now whenever they smell tequila, like they get nauseous? Like,
yeah.
Okay. That's what that movie did for me as far as Godzilla goes. Like, whenever I hear Godzilla, I just think like I get nauseous.
But Jean Reno, he's the greatest Frenchman out of Morocco we've ever gotten.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody knows who he is. The Professional. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie.
It will creep you out because French people are way too okay with things that are borderline pedophilia.
Was it Natalie Portman?
Yeah. Very young Natalie. I mean, she and I are basically the same age. So in retrospect, she was like 12 when that movie came out. I was 12. A 12-year-old being attracted to a 12-year-old is okay. A like 35-year-old Frenchman via Morocco being confused about his feelings of a 12-year-old trying to seduce him amid gunfights. That's a little bit weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but it's still a fantastic film.
Yes.
Gary Oldman knocks it out of the park.
Yes.
There's this moment in There's this moment in this movie where Gary Oldman, spoiler alert's coming up, Natalie Portman is going to try to kill Gary Oldman, leading to the denouement of the film. Isn't that fun? French director, French actor, French words. This is getting ridiculous. And he's a so he plays a drug addicted detective who is just the worst person ever. He catches her. He knows she's going to kill her, and he has this moment that, like, feel in my heart when he says, "I gotta cuss a little." He's like, "What piece of shit thing did I do?" Basically, to get a little girl to want to kill me, and I'm like, "Yeah, I feel that sometimes."
Yeah. Yes. Fair enough.
Mm. And for the 12 of you who have listened to this show via audio version, Shawn has taken his glasses off, and it is very handsome.
Thank you.
Very handsome.
I didn't clean them before we started recording, and if you were blasting a light directly in your face, you're going to choose the astigmatism over the glare. Yeah,
that's okay. Astigmatism still can't be corrected by laser surgery.
Yeah, and apparently I can get contacts, but they're like super complicated contacts.
Yeah, they have to go in like a specific way, do a specific thing.
So it's really annoying because if I'm target shooting through a scope, I either have to shoot lefty or I have to like wear my glasses all wonky.
Which was I think I told you that's the exact reason why I got the LASIK. I told you about that, right?
Yeah, because it's really hard to shoot through an optic with prescription eyewear.
Oh, well, and to the point, okay. Did you know that BCGs aren't a thing anymore, by the way?
Yeah, they changed it up, right?
Yeah, so like we're old veterans now because
combat goggle thing.
Okay, yes. If you don't know, from the very moment that soldiers coming into the army started getting eyewear till about, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, the army would issue glasses to people that were affectionately called BCGs, short for birth control glasses. You're not getting laid wearing these because they were gigantic, they were ugly. You Google birth control glasses, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Boy, you can't break them though.
You can't. And
they are dense.
Right. And I actually I'm going to defend the BCGs because they had a purpose in that I did not know all through basic training that these things were working well until I had my own rifle at home. I still wore glasses, and I was just adjusting the sights, and I looked at the sights. And if you're doing things right, obviously you're always looking at the front sight post, right? And I just happened to look at the thing beyond my front sight post in that moment, as you're supposed to do, and realize how blurry it was.
Right.
Because the angle of your head behind a rifle, you look over any glasses that aren't meant to start a fire. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was in that moment I was like, okay, I guess I have to get LASIK because I either don't want to get sand in my eyes in theater with contacts in, or would like to be a human being who people love.
Yeah, it was actually Remesnik that diagnosed my astigmatism.
Was it really?
It was, because I bought a CCO off of him, a close combat optic, Israeli one.
Mm-hmm.
It had a triangle as opposed to a dot. And I called him and I go, "Hey man, you sold me some broken stuff. There's 2 triangles in this thing." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "There's 2 triangles. Something's wrong with the glass in this." And Remesnik's on the phone. He's like, "Hey man, why don't you look through it with your left eye?" And I looked through it with my left eye, and I was like, "What the?" He's like, "Yeah, I think you need to go to an optometrist." And I went to the optometrist, and I had an astigmatism. Remesnik diagnosed my astigmatism, also figured out why I was constantly having headaches while driving. Because I didn't know. It took. So Remy, thank you for making sure that I got glasses.
But now you have to make sure he listens to this.
He doesn't. He doesn't care. He knows this story though.
Well, maybe that's just the quality of Israeli healthcare.
Okay.
No, they're doing good stuff out there.
Okay.
if you weren't aware. The vaccination's going well. They
Yeah.
have good data to show that it is a cap, putting a cap on the spread.
Borders
Life
are
is secure.
secure. No missiles shooting in on them on a regular basis. Oh wait, there are. But hey,
That
you're
looks
getting
really cool, though.
vaccinations.
Their Iron Shield, that thing looks.
Iron
That's what.
Dome
Thank you.
is
That
badass.
that thing is
Yes.
awesome. Do not. You
But
show
if
the
you're asking
respect.
me if I would trade annual flu shots without an issue and free prescription medication for the trade-off of being protected by an in-atmosphere Star Wars program, no.
No, that's kind of awesome. I really do like it. Now, okay.
That would be the equivalent of us here in North Las Vegas if Henderson, Las Vegas was constantly trying to mortar us. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool, man. Ibuprofen's free.
But to be fair, you also haven't lived with that your whole damn existence. I mean, historical records do not indicate the Jews had it very easy.
Yeah, no, apparently not. If you read a little bit of their history, I think they've had some challenges
Here and there,
here and there.
it hasn't been terribly long. I think only a few thousand years. Yeah, they've been pretty much crapped
I
on
can
very.
only imagine after the end of World War One, they're like, things are turning around, guys.
Oh my God!
It's all uphill from here.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I
then
always feel bad reading like the historical accounts of any like race or group of people like the Jews, because honestly, it's like whenever things seem like they're turning a corner, you turn to like chapter 43, and it's like, but they were mistaken.
And then someone came after them again. I credit where credit's due. The fact that the Jewish people even exist at this point is a miracle.
No, you have to understand this. I am not being anti-Semitic or sarcastic at all. Like, if I look, if a group of people, like I was part of that group, that were constantly just getting their asses handed to them and just kept standing back up and like going for the next round, like
Yeah,
it's amazing to me.
that like Raging Bull, flipping, what's his face there with this is Jake LaMotta, whoever the heck that was, getting his trash kicked by Sugar Ray Leonard, I think it was, coming out off the ropes, being like, he's all screwed up and I'm still standing. It's like, yeah, but you're a corpse.
Yeah, I just
Oh.
imagine God in one corner, right? And he's like, "Stay down, kid." And some Jewish dude like in the corner, just on his elbows, like getting up real slow, and it's like Rocky 12, and you're like, "Yeah!"
Did we just did we just liken the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob to Sylvester Stallone standing at the side of the ring with the towel as Ivan Drago hammers down on Apollo Creed? Like, do I throw it?
Yeah, just coming back to the Holy Land, and God standing at the doorway, like, "I will break you."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
But
no.
again, this is to highlight. This is not anti-Semitism. This
I
is
have
to highlight.
100% since I was a young kid looked at the Jewish people and gone, I wish I had that much heart and that much chutzpah. Like, serious.
Just pure grit. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's absolutely astounding to me. And they're like, we have this tiny country, and they tried to invade it like on a Sunday, and we totally just kicked the crap out of these people. Like, it's astounding to me. And they still have, there's an international exchange program still that you can do where you go over for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
You pay the fee, and you like work with the military and like wash the trucks and train with them and stuff like that. Like, can you imagine, like, hey, we're not a big military, but we make it up by making sure that everybody has to serve for 2 years. And also, hey, you're welcome to come help us.
Yeah.
That's badass.
I ought to look that up, honestly. Okay, a little bit of a hard shift here. Just in the moments of Dave's life. Okay, the SUV is getting worked on.
Right.
And it's just me now. Like, I'm in Bachelorville. I got friends, but they got lives. Nobody's got an extra car, so I had to rent
A shitty Cobalt.
the cheapest car I could. Not the Cobalt, the Spark. Chevy Spark.
which is like, the younger brother to the Chevy Aveo.
It's okay. First off, full disclosure, I want to say in my review of the Chevy Spark, if you've listened to these shows, I love the Mitsubishi Mirage. If you're gonna make a go box, okay, an econo car, don't get distracted. Make it what it's supposed to be, a cheap, reliable, here and there vehicle. Do not try to hide it, okay?
No, don't lie about it.
And
you know what you are.
Yeah. So
just put the bow on a pig.
Thank
That's all
you.
you're doing.
There's a lot of things that you expect from an econo car. Right?
Listen, let me stop you here.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
You don't got to put a bow on a pig. There's still people out there that want to F a pig. You don't got to put a bow on it.
Let the people who want the pig have the pig.
Yeah, let them have the pig. Don't dress up the pig. Just let them have the pig.
All right, so here's the problem. Okay, so yes, it's crappy. Yes, it feels like it's made of plastic. Yes, it should get better fuel efficiency than it does considering how small and light it is. Yes, there's no excuse for it to only be a 4-seater. Yes, it's so cheap that there's like waves in the rearview mirror glass because they didn't even want to get the high quality glass. It's like you get like drunk sick looking in the rearview mirrors for whatever reason.
Yeah, most glass is made by floating it on mercury, and they were like, well, we got maple syrup. So
yeah, no, it's terrible. It's terrible. All of these things,
a low quality car.
Right. And comparing to the Mitsubishi Mirage, which part of the reason I'm so upset is the car reviewers will sit and tell you how the Mirage is the worst car on the road. No, I've driven them both. The Spark might be the worst car on the road.
It possibly is, and I drive a Chrysler, so that's saying a lot.
Right. And the problem is they didn't own it. Mitsubishi owned it. They're like,
no, Mitsubishi was like, hey, man, you have $8,000? Do you have $8,000 and no standards? Do you have a 14-inch wheel standard? Do you remember what it was like to roll down a window with a manual handle? Then here's the car for you. Yeah.
It takes it back to the 90s when cars were just damn cars.
Yes.
The Spark wants to split the baby. It still wants to provide luxury in the wrong ways. And this is what gets me. I'm a little man. We've talked about this before. I'm 5'7". I need my visibility, right? Y'all tall people, you can lay that seat back and you can still see well. I'm like sitting upright, right? So Chevy knows that their fans are mostly American, mostly big people who want that room. And so there's all of this headspace in it. Shawn, how do you get headspace in a small car?
You just make it tall, or you put the seat right on the floorboard.
Thank you. That's exactly what. Yes. And so I'm driving like this. And I'm trying to see out the damn windows, and you can't because it's designed for a person 6'3", not 5'7".
Right. There's no way to raise the seat on this thing.
No.
Yeah.
No. So that brings me to the fan question that I forgot. Shawn, why the hell do people still buy Chevys and Fords?
Okay. First of all, I'm going to touch base on something here I want to talk about.
Yes.
It is the advancement of vehicles. If I get into my truck, I love manual things.
Uh-huh.
In order to move my seat back and forth, you reach under and you grab a bar, and you pull up on the bar, and it disconnects, and I can roll the seat backward and forward.
Beautiful.
When you are 6'3" and your wife is like 5'2", and you get into a modern car, and she's just driven it, as soon as I open the door, the first 12 seconds is this. Of me waiting for the seat to get where it needs to be so I can get in the car. So I just want to say, technological advancement is not that great. There's still some things that a manual version of are just superior to. So your question, though, is, why do people still buy Ford and Chevy, or why do people hate Ford and Chevy?
We're going to get to both, but let me just pause real quick. I just want to, because people never think about how to actually save the planet. Again, I would like to say that the Mitsubishi Mirage is a better planet saver than most hybrids because the very thing that you're talking about, the less motors you have in a vehicle, the less fanciness, confusing things, actually the less human resources it requires to build up and break down, and the lighter weight it is, so the less fossil fuels. It's like, on the one hand, you can't be like, well, we need to give up on the straws to save the planet. And on the other hand, you can't drive a 4,500-pound SUV, even if it is a hybrid.
No, I will say I appreciate you and the other 3 Mitsubishi Mirage owners who are doing the carbon offset for my one Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah, that's correct. It takes a few of us. Now, to the point. All right, so let's hit this first off. Since we're salty about this, first start with why people hate Chevys and Fords.
It's this. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's because people need something to latch onto that identifies them. It's the same reason like there's Raiders fans and they hate the 49ers. It's like you have to have one and not the other because people find some weird joy in that conflict.
It's true.
People love to be able to crap on something, even if it's based off of 40-year-old information or even if it's pointless. They want to be able to crap all over something.
Yes, it is tribalism. It is us versus you. It is, these are the people like me, these are the people not. And
what if you can look up this quote, I could tie it into the YouTube. It was something like, we are a nation of warriors without a war. Like the way our history is stemmed, like you said, that tribalism, we don't have it and we got to find it somewhere.
Now, and this is important to understand. In this podcast, we genuinely do try to bring people together. And one of the things, this tribalism is always going to exist, period. It's not going to go away. It exists in every country. It is actually much worse in most parts of the world than it is here.
Like in countries where they still refer to them as tribes.
Thank you. Yes, most parts of the world are much more racist than the U.S.
Or a tribe called Quest. You know, it just keeps going and going.
Yes. So the reality is that we're busily pointing at every damn thing at being racist. And it is actually fair to say that something is tribalist. Okay. And if you point at something as tribalist instead of racist, you're going to have a little bit more credibility because Dr. Seuss isn't actually racist.
Okay.
They banned Dr. Seuss.
I thought we were talking about cars. I'm sorry.
We're going to get back to the cars.
You took a left, and I was just... Yeah, I know they banned
Technically, I took a right.
I was also having like flashbacks when you said tribalism and racism to like my friggin' college classes. I don't know. Keep going.
Yeah, because those are great. Okay, let's get back to the fluff then. So why do they suck so bad? Why is it that Chevys and Fords suck? And by the way, okay, while you consider your answer, I've actually looked into this. Fords have one of the highest recall and problem rates per vehicles on the road than any other brand. Okay, when I say why do Chevys and Fords suck, I'm saying this because they demonstrably anyone who's triggered by this, send me an email. I'll send you the data.
I'll be honest with you. Most of the newer vehicles where you run into problems is because of its cost savings. I mean, that's what I've found, is that most things that you run into failure with are cost savings issues.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to cost save in order to turn a larger profit and widen that gap, that's when you start to run into more and more and more of those problems. You don't see that problem in like import econo boxes because they're built to a standard for a reason. They're supposed to be basic and simple and cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, They're all trying to make them cheap, but they want all the money for them. So if you paid $8,000 for that Ford, you probably would be okay with the fact that it's a giant piece of crap. But considering you're paying these high prices for something that's supposed to be luxurious and good, but it still has the same stupid faults, I think people get more and more obnoxious about that. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. If you get into a modern, like, fully loaded Chevy or Dodge or Ford pickup, it is like technological vomit all over the dashboard. It's giant screens and faux leather and electronics and bull crap and stuff like that. And it really does artificially inflate the cost of what is essentially a work truck. So, honestly, why do people hate Chevys and Fords? I think it's like you said, it's the tribalism thing. Or they had a bad experience at some point with it. Like, I will be honest with you, I will never own a Ford or a Chevy again because of my experience with it.
Naturally. Does anyone even make a truck that you can take to your job for less than $25,000 brand new? Does that even...
Yeah, we get into the, like, are you talking about mid-size, small, large?
A truck, period. If I got a job tomorrow as a lumberjack,
I think you could pick up like a Ram Tradesman for like just over $20K.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's blisteringly insane.
Because I also remember, hilariously, for example, the Mighty Max. I think you and I talked about the Mitsubishi Mighty Max.
Yeah, boy, that is a truck that did not age well.
No.
At all.
But there was a time when if you had to buy a truck to go to work and you didn't have money, someone made a truck that didn't even have a rear bumper or air conditioning or a radio or anything because they understood, just like we said before, you've got a couple of grand that your dad lent you so you can go get your job, landscaping or whatever. You can't go and buy a $20,000 truck.
No. And this is also the same time span that you're about between, was it 89 and 91? Ever heard of this thing? Look it up. The Dodge Dakota Convertible, which had to be the most unsafe design I have ever seen. And first of all, trucks are not safe. There is no A, B, C pillar. You get an A and a B pillar. And they were like, let's take that rollover safety right out of it. Just give it a convertible. It is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've never seen this truck.
Oh, no, you Google it right now. Can you Google it right now?
Okay, right now. If my screen makes noise typing, I apologize. Fill the space for me, please.
It's called the Dodge Dakota Sport Convertible. It is blisteringly. It's ugly. It's horrible. Basically, you got to keep in mind it shares a lot of the aspects of the old Dodge minivan. It looks like somebody just cut the top off a Dodge minivan. So bad.
Yeah, okay, for anyone...
the era of the Mitsubishi Mighty Max and the Dodge Dakota Sport Convertible. And when trucks... Because you mentioned, if I just need a truck to get to and from work. This is when people were like, hey, what if we turn a truck into a commuter car? And they tried to make that happen.
It's gross.
It's horrible.
And in all fairness, I am going to admit my biases. I'm looking at this thing. It is garbage, and it harkens the spirit of the Subaru Baja.
Yeah, but the Subaru Baja was cool. Like,
it was really cool.
They didn't lie about what it was. They were like, we put two things in the back to avoid the chicken tax. Like,
right. We are really pulling from the archives of bad ideas. The Baja was a bad idea because instead of a trunk, they put in a truck bed. It's about the same size as a trunk, but now all your groceries get wet.
So ugly.
So yes, anyone who has made it to this show, to this point in the show,
If you've made it this far and you're not bored, because honestly, even I'm a car person, and to me, I would think that this discussion would bore some people. I just got to say that, like, everybody has a fart, right? Everybody's everybody's put out into the ether something that stinks to everyone else. And when I say a fart is like one of those creations where like Dodge was sniffing this and they were going like, "Oh, that's a nice aroma." And everybody else was like, "This smells like crap." Dodge has done it, Ford has done it, Chevy has done it. Recently, it's normal. I and that's why I'm the first person to tell people when they're like interested in buying a car, you never buy a new car. That's just dumb. And what I mean by that is, like, I think Jeep was thinking about putting the V8 in their Wranglers this year and all this crap. You never buy a first model year car.
Factually accurate. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
can
never
make an argument for a
ever
new
do
car.
that.
Right.
Yeah, if you're buying a new car that is like it is like its fifth year of being built, that's one thing.
Right.
But yeah, people are running out and they're buying these things, and then they're surprised that there's a recall on them, or they're surprised that Jeeps still have a death wobble. Hey, guys, I got to tell you, it's an antiquated garbage design. It really is.
And in defense
the Jeep
of it,
Wrangler is a $56,000 piece of garbage.
it is. Yes.
You're buying an icon, and you're buying it for the fact that you take your hard tops off and strap a bunch of bolt-on crap to it and feel cool. It is not worth what it actually is.
Right. You and I have had discussions. You and I have actually done some off-roading. I have passed so many Wranglers in the snow, in the mud, in my Outlander.
Oh my God, a solid axle design that is still being built to this day. And people are like, this is the best thing ever. No, it is not.
Now, in defense, I will say this in fairness and in defense of the Wrangler, as much as I make fun of people with their stickers, with the if this thing is rolling over, if you can read this, push this out, okay, and to be fair, history's greatest off-roader by Dakar Rally wins, the Mitsubishi Montero, we knew it in the United States, was a rollover hog. Anything that can get over rough terrain has a huge risk of rollover.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the only thing that I'm going to say in defense of the Wrangler practically ever.
The Wrangler is an antiquated design that people pay an exceptionally large amount of money for because they're trying to buy an icon and once again be part of a group.
Crazy amounts.
And stop. If you're like, yeah, you're just anti-Jeep. You have no idea.
You drive something else.
How many hours I have working on Jeeps. It is my specialty. It is what I restore. I do CJ5s, do CJ7s, do CJ8s. I do Wranglers. And I've been in every single part of them. If I was being taken to court on sexual assault charges or sexual harassment charges, it would be undeniable how much I have had my hands all over these things. They're absolute garbage when it comes to something that you're buying new. It is a straight axle design that makes absolutely no sense. They handle like garbage. They ride like garbage. Don't buy one.
No,
buy a used one. Buy a used one. Stop buying
if you do it at all. But in all seriousness, like, okay, I glow about my SUV all the time because of the exercise that I did specifically to land on it. And I recommend this to anyone shopping for any cars. If you are 16 or 65 shopping for a car, you need to make a list. 2 lists, okay? In one list, do not include anything about brands, models, whatever. In one list, you say what your wants are, right? And in the other list, and you can do this for life too, it's just very easy for cars. And in the other list, you put what you need in a car, right? When I was shopping for a car, I wanted all-wheel drive because I'm a snob for my drivetrain, I'll admit it.
And then it was like, you were so up your own butt about an adjustable second row.
Right, right. Because of the fact that, right, thank you. That mattered a heck of a lot. Because,
Today, as somebody who's driven a lot of three-row cars,
uh-huh.
I still don't quite understand why it had to be an adjustable third row.
Easy. Okay. Because Sam, my oldest son, when he was small, I had a coupe, and he had to climb back behind the seat 100,000 times, right? Until he finally got so big it was awkward, and then I finally got a four-door. It's the evolution of family vehicles. So I saw that exact same thing, but because I'm a snob, I was unwilling to get a minivan. So and this is rare, when the middle row of an SUV slides forward so that people can get behind it. And I'm not talking about rocking forward. I'm just talking about slides forward. It actually gets much easier for the kids because that's one of the things I had to do. I had to seat 6 or more.
6 or more.
Mm-hmm.
God, yeah, you're right. You get a lot of kids.
Yes. And it turned out, in fact, a small vehicle with a third row, the kids can walk right into that back. You can have one of the seats just permanently laid down. 2 kids can walk right into the back row. And if they're young like mine, you can buckle them in, reaching through the rear hatch just fine, even with my diminutive size. But let me get back to the point. Make yourself 2 lists, what you want and what you need, and do your Google searches based on that, and ignore the brands. Go find what actually fit that, because I was surprised to find out there was 2 cars I was coming down to. The Mazda 5.
Garbage.
It's garbage, but it's a car with 3
But it met
rows.
your task. Yeah.
Right. So, but they don't make it anymore. That fell to the Outlander, which is the most fuel-efficient, gasoline-only third-row vehicle on the road. And I hadn't looked at Mitsubishis in like 10 years. And I'm like, this thing doesn't look like anything exciting. And then I drove it, and then I looked at the price tag, which was really low. That's how you make yourself happy with your vehicle. It's not buying a damn brand.
I buy my vehicles based off of how much patience I have to put up with whatever piece of garbage it is. And as a result, I've stuck mainly to Jeeps and Toyotas.
Absolutely. Very good choice. Shawn.
Because they're easy to fix.
Shawn.
What?
Today got away from us.
Yeah, it did. I mean, really, this podcast started off pretty good, and then we just started rambling about BS, but...
I hope some people have enjoyed the BS.
I hope so, too. I just always worry that somebody's going to get turned off.
And we're here for us, and we're here for anyone who wants to come play with us.
Exactly. It's us having a discussion. You're just invited. If you don't like, you can leave.
To that point, if anyone made it to this point, please do subscribe. We're getting rapid expansion of viewers. We would like to keep you.
Also, keep in mind that we haven't really figured out what the A, B, C, D, E of this podcast is yet. So every version you listen to is completely different because we haven't found the groove that we want. So we'll find it eventually. Yeah, it's fun.
And y'all can participate with it. This, like I say, this is the time to get in on this. Message us. Become part of the thing, because there will be a point where we'll become like everyone else, be like, oh, someone sent a message. Let me have my intern answer that email. With that being said, though, we are hard out of time. Okay. Shawn!
Yes?
I want you to have an amazing evening.
I'm going to go pee.
Again! You need your prostate checked. I'm just saying that as a friend.
I'm going to go check it right now.
All right. Goodbye.
Good.